There's a lack of diversity here today, that it's mostly people who look like you and I.
It is not for black people, for people of color to get out on the street. They're at risk when they do that. If anybody's going to get arrested here, it's going to be a black person. It is not safe for them, and they don't need to participate. We need to walk in their name.
Have you been voting blue most of your life?
I voted blue in the womb.
I'm pretty sure the Democrat Party did not exist when that lovely grandmother was in the womb. I've been telling you guys, one of the biggest threats to America, especially to men in America, woke white women. And there were dozens of woke white women in the streets yesterday dressed as mythbusters, fighting the myths that were created by doofus Democrats. They were fighting against white Christian nationalists, fighting against toxic masculinity, fighting against the evil colonizers and the patriarchy, fighting against mythical racism, fighting against this mythical king in America that does not exist. No kings, just queens. No kings, just queens. According to the lead dorks in the mainstream media, yesterday was amazing. Over 8 million people led a spontaneous demonstration against the evil orange tyrant. This display of democracy brought tears to my eyes. As is often the case, well, as is always the case with doofus Democrats, the No Kings protests yesterday were nothing but an illusion. They are trying to convince America that democracy is under attack. They are trying to convince America that fighting the patriarchy is mainstream. Doofus Democrats are utilizing the same tactics that the media uses with the WNBA dump. The media, they are constantly trying to convince us that pretend basketball is popular. They try to convince us that unknown WNBA players are mainstream stars. AJ Wilson, Kelsey the Plumber, Bob Griner, Ben Gay, these women are huge stars. They give unknown players credit for elevating the dump instead of giving the credit to the only player in the league that is capable of drawing a mainstream audience. I don't even have to mention her name because you already know exactly who I'm talking about. Doofus Democrats are using the same chef who polishes the WNBA turd. They want you to bite into the shit sandwich. They want you to believe that men can be women, while at the same time, doofus Democrats have no idea what a woman is, especially someone like Keith Olbermann. KDP! Especially someone like Keith Olbermann, who hasn't been inside of a woman since birth. They want us to believe that illegal immigrants are innocent victims of an oppressive system who continues to arrest them for breaking the law. They want us to believe that right is wrong and pure evil is good. And they want us to believe that 8 million people spontaneously came together in the streets yesterday to protest a king that does not exist. But as you're about to see, at most of these protests, there didn't look to be 800 people there. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Let's go ahead and bust through this myth that there were 8 million people in the streets of America yesterday. For starters, I don't trust any number that is being reported by Democrats. How can I trust that they know how to count when they struggle to properly identify a woman without the assistance of a biologist? I don't know, Fran. She looks like a man to me. No, look at the curvatures on the chest cavity. This is definitely a female birthing person. Those are man boobs, Fran. I orally tested them myself and nothing came out. Take a look at a couple of these peaceful demonstrations of woke love. You tell me if this looks like 800 or even 8,000 people, much less 8 million. The most crowded protest was in New York City, but pay very close attention to the flags. They're not waving American flags, obviously. They're not waving the standard issued rainbow flag. Woke white women and the men pretending to be them, they're in Times Square waving communist flags. Also, in one of these clips, there's a woke white woman claiming that she is protesting against the insane people in the White House. What's ironic about this? She's claiming Don Trump is insane while she's standing next to someone who looks to be insane. Watch for yourself.
What does No Kings protest mean?
You know, I think it means that the Dow is over 50,000. So that's what we should be paying attention to right now, okay? But really, we're sick and tired of this administration and all the wrongs that they're doing. It makes us sick. Most American people feel the same way. We need to take to the streets and do something about it. We're out here making fun of these insane people that currently have power in the White House because you have to clown fascists.
Solution. There is only one solution. Communist revolution. Communist revolution. There is only one solution.
There is only one solution.
Communist revolution.
If you're a communist in America and you're angry that your woke welfare was eliminated, or you're angry that you're a huge embarrassing failure, you're angry that you can't afford rent in a low-budget trailer park, if you're a communist in America, I have some very good news for you. There are plenty of other countries with communist governments. You can live in China, you can live in Russia, Vietnam, North Korea. Matter of fact, I think most of us normal people would be willing to pay to book you a one-way ticket to the communist country of your choice. At this point, I think most normal people would make a temporary financial sacrifice just to get you the hell out of here. I mean, if you don't like it here, leave. You don't have to announce your departure. I promise no one's gonna miss you. All you gotta do is leave. Obviously, yesterday's celebration of Wiener was not spontaneous. This was not a grassroots protest. This was a highly organized anti-American demonstration. But Uncle KC, protesting isn't anti-American. It's the foundation of our democracy. Yeah, when you actually have a cause, if you have a legitimate complaint, if you have legitimate concerns about the government, protesting is appropriate. But these are not protesters. These are paid agitators. According to Bill O'Reilly, No Kings is being funded by a group called Indivisible. This so-called grassroots operation, it was organized in the Somalian Republic of Minneapolis. I wonder why. It is incredibly difficult to find information about Indivisible. Like most doofus Democrats, they're experts at disguising themselves. Some of the funding also came from the ACLU and Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood? I didn't know abortion was one of the causes yesterday. I saw signs about Jeff Epstein. I saw communist signs. I didn't see a damn thing about abortion. So why in the hell is Planned Parenthood, who, by the way, over 40% of their revenue comes from government reimbursements and government grants, which means you and me help pay for this celebration of Wiener yesterday. But why in the hell is Planned Parenthood paying for a protest that has absolutely nothing to do with parenting or those who don't want to be parents? The funding for these protests, it wasn't just used to pay the protesters. I'm sure some of it was used to pay for celebrities to speak at these peaceful demonstrations to make the movement appear to be mainstream. Robert De Niro took his Metamucil yesterday morning before delivering a monotone speech that damn near sedated the protesters, but the keynote speaker was Tim Walz, who was seen by my inside sources borrowing a tampon from his wife before taking the stage. Watch it for yourself.
Look at the power of the No Kings National Uprising. Look at the power of the No Kings National Uprising. Afraid of Trump? Please.
A special thank you and a special acknowledgement that we will never leave the side of our Somali Minnesotans. Here's our pledge to you. Our Somali Minnesotans, your great-grandchildren will still be here when that orange clown is in the dustbin of history.
You know, when I was younger, my mom would wait in line for hours to buy tickets when the WWF was in town. This was before you could call or go on your phone and order tickets online. Back in the 90s, had to wait in line at the arena and physically buy the tickets yourself. She always hated to do it because of the demographic of the crowd. Wrestling's always been known as having a specific audience. It's the reason that advertisers aren't willing to pay to advertise on wrestling programs. One of the reasons major networks back then were hesitant to embrace wrestling, they had a difficult time selling ad spots because their perception was wrestling fans didn't have money, they were broke. Now, whether or not that perception was true didn't matter. Their perception was the only thing that mattered. You guys have seen a few clips of the crowd at the No Kings protest yesterday. Does this look like an American crowd to you? Does this look like your neighbors? Does it look like people that you encounter on a day-to-day basis? These are the people that doofus Democrats are relying on to get back into the White House. They are relying on people that hate the country to take back control of the country they hate. I don't agree with everything Donald Trump does. To be honest with you, I'm starting to get a little bit worried about Iran. This was supposed to be over quickly. Then it was going to be a few weeks. Now he's talking about putting boots on the ground. Oftentimes, I think the main problem with Donald Trump is his messaging. For some reason, he struggles to be clear with what he's doing. And look, maybe he's doing that intentionally. I'm sure he doesn't want us knowing the exact plans in Iran. But I would much rather deal with unclear messaging than deal with what we saw in the streets yesterday. Their messaging is very clear. They hate America. They want communism. They want radical Islam. They want you and me to work while they produce nothing but toxic ass gas. I don't know about you guys, but I would much rather just deal with the Trumper. Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys later.